What's up, everyone? Happy Tuesday to you. We are making it through this week. You know, I was looking at this very hilarious video of this street singer who was doing a set dedicated to this rude ass dude who decided to come mess with them. And he decided to just start trolling dude with middle fingers, ends up breaking his knee, being immobilized, and the paramedics had to come and help him out. And all the while he's waiting for the paramedics and they're helping him out, dude, the street singer, is doing a whole set. And he's like, he's all messed up, knee messed up. And, it's kind of one of those things. Let me see if I can pull up that video real quick. Because it's one of those things where, I say this all the time that, all people are not God's people. And, but you're God's people because you will have protection. Like we do have protection. And, I always say that, people who intentionally target God's people, it's never going to be what they want. It's never going to be what they want. And you have to go back to the Israelites, right? And the one thing we have to kind of understand, just in summary, about the Israelites and the scrolls of the Hebrews is that, number one, they were a chosen bloodline of people. They were a chosen people. They were gifted all kinds of ways throughout the tribes. They had different gifts that were bestowed upon their bloodlines of people. And those gifts carried on to the bloodlines. And, even with the bloodlines of Israel rebelling and turning against their God, he never turned his back against those bloodlines. And those who came and saw and remembered him throughout the generations, right, he has been with them. And so, particularly, even with the Gentiles, those who are in covenant with the Most High, right, we still have that same protection that the Israelites had, right? And so we know that when the Israelites went to conquer the land of Canaan, right, they were outnumbered several different times with those different armies, and yet they subdued them with being in covenant with their God and having faith in their God. And, that still holds true to people who have faith in the God of Abraham, Isaac, and Jacob. They have accepted his son, whom he sent to be an example, the greatest teacher of all times. And he taught us how to be righteous people, right? And so those who are seeking to live righteous lives and they're seeking righteousness, they still have that protection. And no matter what we are doing in life, if it's honest-hearted, if it's not being detrimental to other people, if you're doing something, with just the full faith of surviving without being detrimental to other people, right, he's going to protect you. And so this just kind of reminded me of that, because the brother even said in one of the verses in the song that he was trolling, he was like, this is what you get when you mess with God's people. And it's so true. It's so true. And the thing is, I'm not in the camp, again, that all people of a certain culture are actual bloodlines of Hebrews, but the ones that truly are bloodlines of the Hebrews, and we know who you are, or whatever, there's a spirit that goes along with those people. And again, I feel like our God protects us. So when people try to come at us, when forces try to conspire against us, it's never really the outcome. It's never really what they want in the end. And, and we always end up victorious, but we have to keep our faith in our God. We have to stay in covenant. We have to have our lifestyle, our mindset in conformity to righteousness in order to be blessed with that protection. And no, we're not perfect people, but that doesn't mean that we make excuses for, practicing things that we know are not pleasing to our God. And so that is why, I say, don't play with God's people, because he definitely don't play about us. He definitely don't play about his people. And, when we hear no weapon formed against you will prosper, that's real life. That's real talk. And there are several examples of, God's people who, have just beat odds and just had things just turn out their way, and their enemies suffered for coming at them. So I always say, I don't worry about these people. I'm going to stay in covenant. I'm not going to be, promoting any type of negativity. I'm going to stay aligned with the fruitages of the Spirit, and I'm going to pray that that's enough to get the protection of my God. And I'm going to keep talking about my God, because he's good and he's merciful, very merciful, and way merciful than we can ever comprehend. So, keep your prayers up, love your neighbor as yourself. If you would not disrespect or abuse yourself, do not disrespect or abuse your neighbor, and don't play with God's people. Do not play with God's people, because it's never going to be what you want. Bye.